My name is Margaret. I'm 75 years old. And I'm recording this because there's something I need to say while I still can. It's about pain, not the kind you see. Not the kind people ask about, the other kind. The kind that lives under the surface. The kind that doesn't bleed or bruise or show up on an X-ray. The kind I spent most of my life not seeing. I grew up in a house where we didn't talk about feelings. We talked about the weather. We talked about groceries. We talked about who was coming to dinner on Sunday. But we didn't talk about what we felt. My mother was like that, quiet, efficient, always moving. She kept the house spotless. She never missed church. She never raised her voice. I thought that meant she was fine. I thought that's what strength looked like. When I was 12, I came home from school one afternoon and found her sitting at the kitchen table. Just sitting, staring at the wall. The dishes were still in the sink. That never happened. I asked her if she was okay. She smiled at me, a small smile. And she said, "Of course, sweetheart, just resting." I believed her. I went upstairs and did my homework. Years later, I would learn that my father had been having an affair, that she'd known for months, that she'd been holding it inside, alone, with no one to tell. But I didn't know that then. I didn't know how to see it. I got married when I was 23. His name was David. He was kind, gentle. He worked at the post office. He brought me flowers on Fridays. We had 2 daughters. For a long time, I thought we were happy. But somewhere around year 15, he started going quiet. Not angry. Not cold. Just distant. He'd come home from work and I'd ask him how his day was and he'd say, "Fine." That was it. Fine. He stopped telling me stories. He stopped laughing at my jokes. He stopped reaching for my hand when we walked. I thought he was tired. I thought he was stressed. I thought it would pass. I didn't ask. I didn't push. I thought giving him space was the right thing to do. One night, I woke up around 2 in the morning and realized he wasn't in bed. I found him sitting on the back porch in his pajamas. It was October, cold. He was just sitting there, staring at nothing. I stood in the doorway for a minute, watching him, and I almost walked out there. I almost sat down next to him. I almost asked, "David, what's wrong? Really wrong?" But I didn't. I went back to bed. I told myself he'd come in when he was ready. He did come back in, but he never told me what was wrong. And I never asked. That went on for 2 more years. He got quieter. I got busier. I threw myself into the girls. Into the PTA. Into redecorating the living room. I told myself everything was fine. Then one morning, he didn't get out of bed. I thought he was sick. I brought him tea. I asked if he wanted me to call the doctor. He just looked at me with this empty expression. And he said, "I don't think I can do this anymore, Margaret." I didn't understand. I said, "Do what?" He said, "Any of it." 3 weeks later, he was in the hospital. Depression, they said. Severe. He'd been suffering for years. Years. And I hadn't seen it. I sat in that hospital room holding his hand and I kept thinking, how did I miss this? How did I live with him every single day and not see that he was drowning? He got better, eventually. The medication helped. Therapy helped. But something between us had broken. Not because he was sick, because I hadn't seen him. Because when he needed me to ask, I didn't. Because I mistook his silence for strength. We stayed married. We were polite. We were kind to each other. But there was a distance after that, in knowing that I had failed him when it mattered most. My youngest daughter, Emily, she's 43 now. She's always been the quiet one. Even as a little girl, she didn't cry much, didn't complain. Her sister was loud, dramatic, always demanding attention. But Emily just went along. She was easy. That's what I used to say. Emily's the easy one. She did well in school. She had friends. She got a good job after college. I thought she was fine. A few months ago, she called me. It was late, almost 11. She said, "Mom, can I come over?" I said, "Of course." When she got here, she looked exhausted. We sat in the kitchen and I made tea, and I waited. And finally, she said, "I've been seeing a therapist." I said that was good. I said I was glad she was taking care of herself. And then she said, "We've been talking about my childhood." My stomach dropped. She wasn't angry. She wasn't blaming me. She just told me. She told me that she spent her whole life feeling invisible. That she learned early on not to take up space, not to ask for things, not to show when she was hurting. Because her sister was so loud and I was so busy, and it seemed like there was no room for her. She said she remembered being bullied in 6th grade. She said she came home crying one day, and I was on the phone with someone, and I waved her off. She never told me again. She said she learned to smile when she was sad, to say, "I'm fine" when she wasn't, because that's what she thought I needed to hear. I sat there, listening to my daughter tell me this, and I felt like the floor had opened up beneath me. I didn't remember that day. I don't remember waving her off. But I believe her, because I know I was distracted. I know I was overwhelmed. I know I thought she was fine because she didn't cry. I thought silence meant she was okay. Just like I thought my mother was okay. Just like I thought my husband was okay. I spent 75 years mistaking quiet for peace, and I was wrong. The pain that doesn't show is still pain. The suffering that doesn't scream is still suffering. One wish I had known that sooner. I wish I had learned to ask the hard questions. To sit with the silence and not fill it. To look closer. To stay longer. I wish I had understood that sometimes the people who seem the most okay are the ones who are barely holding on. But I didn't, and now I'm 75 and my mother is gone. And my husband is distant. And my daughter is in therapy, trying to undo what I didn't see. I can't go back. I can't fix it. All I can do is see it now and carry it. I've started asking more questions. When someone says they're fine, I ask again. I ask differently. I sit longer. I don't assume. It's late for that. But it's something. Emily and I talk more now. Really talk. It's hard sometimes. There's a lot she's still working through. But she knows I'm trying, and I think that matters. I don't know how much time I have left. But I know I don't want to spend it missing people who are right in front of me. I don't want to keep mistaking silence for strength. Because some pain doesn't show. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. I learned that too late. But maybe you don't have to.